Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jay here at Fort Living Room Homestead, and today I am going to go ahead and give you all a little bit of an update of how things have been going in the last few weeks. I have not been around, I've been just taking the time and focusing, getting a lot of the infrastructure squared away, getting everything done and prepared for next year. We basically had several mile markers, several goals, several things that we wanted to have accomplished by the end of this year. I'm happy to say that we have about, I'd say about 75, 80% of what we set out to do accomplished. We basically got all of our garden beds put in. Not only did we get the garden beds put in, we got everything planted regardless of our huge loss at the beginning of the season. We basically lost over 100 starter plants, basically trying to rush and get things put out. I knew better. I did it anyway, and I paid the price for it. However, we managed to recover. I got some plants in the ground, and things have turned out amazing. And not only again did we get the everything mulched, we ended up getting our fence put up. I will go ahead and take you outside here shortly so you can take a look at the fence that we ended up putting in. We kept having issues with groundhogs and all sorts of other creatures going in there and just destroying our tomatoes and everything else. Regardless of all the other deterrents and things that I'd done, we were just having way too many problems. So I will go ahead and take you out there shortly and show you our progress out there. And I will show you what we've got going on in here right now. So right now I'm in one of two of our sunrooms in the house. This is the largest of the two, and over here to the left in that junky area over there is the second one, the second sunroom. When we bought this property, it came with a bunch of tools and supplies and wood. We can probably see some wood hanging up on the wall and things that came with the house that we just haven't had a chance to get around to yet. We're going to plan to get around to that here closer to the winter time, because we plan on using all of this area indoors to go ahead and grow our microgreens, and we're going to grow some other vegetables and some other crops for the winter. We're looking at putting in some lemon trees, lime trees, and mandarin trees in here, dwarf variety, of course. But who knows, we might actually be able to fit a full-size one in this room. Well, we're not going to try. But anyway, so the other room over here is really cool. I like this room a lot because it actually has a wash area inside of the room to the left. I'm not going to take you in there. Again, there's so much stuff in there from us moving in here, between boxes we still haven't unpacked and the things that were left behind. That room's got a lot of work to do. But again, the advantage to that room is that it has a wash area in that room, and this room is also connected directly to the kitchen as well. So that makes this very convenient to walk out of here. It's like from garden to table in seconds. So what we've been doing in here is these racks right here. These racks are about to get set up to grow microgreens. Over here, we purchased some lighting, some strip lights, and also we have some growing bulbs. And we're going to mount basically one of these lights on each one of these racks. And we're going to have racks of microgreens. All these racks are going to be microgreens that are going to be growing here soon in the wintertime. These lights over here, which I've got actually one hooked up, we were testing this. We're going to have several of these mounted onto the ceiling. So this whole room is going to be an enormous grow room. We're actually going to go as far as putting lights inside of the ceiling fan as well. So every area or every nook and cranny of this room is going to be lit and have all the right UV bands or whatnot for growing vegetables in here. Fortunately, both of these sunrooms are temperature controlled and have individual thermostats in each room. So that is an added bonus. That is one of the major attractions that attracted us to this property as well. So what we've been doing, it's harvest time like it probably is in most other places right now. And what we've been doing is we've been going ahead and taking a lot of these tomatoes and other vegetables, off of the vine while they're still green and letting them ripen inside off of the vine. And this has actually been working out very, very well for us because we've been having issues, like I said before, with the groundhogs and all the other creatures out here just tearing through everything. Not only that, we've been dealing with the severe weather that's kind of just been all over the place. Fortunately, we haven't been getting a lot of drought, but the heat has been a problem. With that heat, it's like we can't water these tomatoes enough to keep them from cracking because of the constant change from hot to not so hot. The tomatoes just haven't been doing great as far as heat goes. So what I've been doing is I've been deciding to pick them while they're a little bit smaller before they start getting big and start stretching out, and letting them ripen off of the vine. And that seems to be working very well. As you can see, they're starting to change. Most of these tomatoes are at a very good size. They've got plenty of nutrients in them already. We fertilize them very well anyway, all naturally, of course. So they're doing well. These green tigers, oh, these are some of my favorite tomatoes, by the way. I just absolutely am in love with this tomato. This is, if you've never grown a green tiger, you need to really consider a green tiger. This is like the best all-around tomato as far as sweetness, flavor, and everything. It's like straight across the board, and it's really, really good, even for people who really don't care for tomatoes that much. But I've digressed. So, with that being said, yeah, we've got so many different kinds of tomatoes that we're growing and experimenting with, and we've been having so much luck with most of these tomatoes. As you can see, we've got plentiful amounts of all these. The green tigers by far are doing the best. These black strawberries we've been growing, they've been doing okay, but we just haven't got a lot of them. They just, for some reason, they're just not exploding like the rest. Let's see, what are these? I think these are the pink love apples down here. Actually, there's a little bit of a mix. This row right here just got a little bit mixed up, but there's a lot of different kinds. The pink love apple tomatoes have been doing the absolute best. I think that's most of those red ones down there. They've been doing so well. Or actually, you know what? I'm wrong. Those are Brandywines right there. I think this one's a pink love apple right here. But these tomatoes have the pink love apples. These ones, I believe, have been doing so well. Literally, on our vines, we've been getting like 4 and 5 of these clumped together, just growing. Like that's probably why all the twine on all the rows broke, because those tomatoes are just super heavy, super juicy, amazing tomatoes. So yeah, we've been having a lot of luck with the tomatoes this year. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't grow some of the ones, even though they haven't produced as well next year. I will probably say that I will just have to give them a little more TLC and see what we can do to help them grow well. I'm not the type of person that just is going to stop growing something because it doesn't produce well. I'm going to look for ways to try to increase the production, like maybe giving it more Bokashi tea. We've been doing a lot of Bokashi fermenting, and if you're not familiar with Bokashi fertilizer and fermenting using compost in your waste, you should definitely check it out. It's one of the best ways to fertilize. It's basically maintenance-free fertilizer. All you do is get your bucket together, put your waste product in it, your scraps, your food scraps. You can put meat, bones, eggshells, anything in there. And you put the Bokashi brand in there and you close it up in a bucket, and it's all anaerobic. So it doesn't require oxygen. You don't get the smell. It's amazing. Even when you do open it up, there's more of a fermented smell. It doesn't smell like that putrid, a lot of those putrid concoctions that people come up with, but it does the job for sure. This is living proof. Our harvest has all been done with Bokashi fermenting and fertilizer, and it's, again, turned out great. We've got a lot of peppers going on here. Again, we've been pulling things off the vine while they're green, just letting them ripen off the vine, and everything's been doing well. Some of our cayenne is starting to go ahead and ripen up. We've got some more cayenne on the inside that's doing well. Inside, we've got a lot of greens that that we just got done picking. A lot of kale and whatnot. So yeah, I'll go ahead and show you what we just managed to pull from outside as far as our kale and some of the other stuff. So right here is a bucket of kale that I just managed to get cut up from outside. As you can see, this is just a monstrous bucket. This thing is loaded with as much kale as I can possibly fit. Shortly, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all washed and cut up so we can get it blanched and frozen, and also probably save some for fresh salads and whatnot. This right here is these are actually some cucumber seeds. We've been harvesting Marketmore cucumbers and some other pickling cucumbers, and they're just exploding as well. Our zucchini is out of control this year. These monsters are just taking over the place. If you're not seed saving right now, that is something you should definitely be considering, because from what I'm understanding, there are about to be some supply issues and some other unsaid issues that are going to prevent us from being able to get the seeds that we may need in the future. So I would just suggest, if you're growing heirloom varieties, go ahead and save your seeds. Right here, we picked up a really good cantaloupe from one of the other local farms around here. The seeds look so good and the cantaloupes look so good, I just decided to go ahead and save some of these seeds for next year as well. So yeah, again, save your seeds and be responsible, because we don't know what we've got coming down the pipe here soon. So now that I've showed you this, I'm going to go ahead and take you outside, and I am going to show you what we've gotten done out there so far. All right, here we are out in the garden area. I'm sure you have all seen this earlier in the season. It was full of lettuce, and we went ahead and pulled all that lettuce that was there. Again, we were having issues with the heat out here, so the heat just made a lot of that lettuce that we had turn not so good, and it got really bitter due to the heat. So what we did is we went ahead and pulled that lettuce, and we started some new lettuce for the fall. We've got some other varieties of lettuce going on down there. I can't remember specifically what all these are. That last row over there is actually basil. We went ahead and planted an entire row of basil to get one last crop of basil before the year's out. So we basically got 3 more rows of lettuce and 1 row of basil over there. Our zucchini has been exploding. We've got zucchini, melons, and squash right here. All of that has been doing very well. Our cucumbers are over there. They're doing well. Right here, this used to be containers. We actually ended up moving all of our containers over across the way over here, over to our boardwalk area. And oh wow, look, you noticed our fence. We'll get to that here in a minute. But this is our corn. We went ahead and moved all the containers that we had right here, and then we moved it over to the boardwalk on the other side of the fence area, and that gave us all this room and freed this bed up. So I went ahead and covered it and mulched this all out, and we planted some corn here, and we should probably get 1 crop of corn before the year's out. I planted a 50-day variety of corn, so we should get some ears of corn right before the end of the season, right before frost. And it's kind of funny because a bunch of pea seeds ended up falling all throughout here, somehow, some way, from when I had the containers here. So I decided to just let those peas go ahead and grow. And as they get a little bit bigger, I'm going to kind of move them and put them at the base. I'm going to put them at the base of the corn so that the peas can grow up the corn. And potentially, I'll see if it's too late to do some squash, and we can maybe make an attempt at trying a 3 Sisters scenario out here. Who knows? We'll see what things hold once this starts to pick up a little bit. But moving along over here, so this is the fence I went ahead and put in. It took me 2 days to put this fence in. I went ahead and used some contracting poles and some deer fence. This is like 4-foot fencing right here. This fence worked out really well, and it actually ended up looking amazing by the time I got done with this. I'm very, very happy with this fence. I actually had to do all this manually with a post hole digger. Anyone who's ever done any fencing knows that it is a pain in the butt to try to sit here with a post hole digger and dig all these holes and put in a fence. But, you know, it had to get done, so I went ahead and knocked it out, and here we are. These bags of concrete right here, this is more leftover concrete. I still have a spot here to finish and some more around the outer perimeter. But this is some leftover concrete that was inside of the area when we got here. So I took this concrete and went ahead and put it around the base, and I'm going to take some mulch and put some mulch over this to kind of beautify it after a while, so it'll provide security from animals digging under, and also I'll beautify it with the mulch, but that's going to be a little bit later on down the road. As you can see right here, these are our tomatoes. Things didn't quite go according to plan. I had everything roped off, but for some reason all the twine managed to break because these tomatoes are just too giant, which is a good problem to have. But it kind of left things a little bit of a mess, so I'm not really upset. The tomatoes are growing well. Everything is mulched in here and drip irrigated, so the tomatoes that are actually on the ground are really not getting damaged by bugs or worms or anything like that, so it's not really a big problem. It's just the visuals that aren't that great now. Next year I have a plan. I was going to go ahead and kind of hang the tomatoes and do like the long hanging style of tomatoes, but I changed my mind. What I'm going to probably do is get some cattle paneling or whatever and just hook it up to these poles that are already here and just trellis, like do a long cattle panel trellis down all these rows so they can grow straight up, because a lot of these tomatoes are just way too heavy even to try to hang. I really feel like it's gonna end up breaking the stalks of some of these tomatoes if I don't have them trellised very, very well, especially those Brandywines and the Love Apples. Those tomatoes are just extremely, extremely large. So over here on this part right here, these 4 rows right here have been planted, and as you can see, I don't even know if you can see that right there, but these are just getting tomatoes. This was our succession planting. We planted those other, I think 10 rows or whatever, and then we planted these last 4 just so we'd have a crop at the end of the year to kind of supplement and give us some extra tomatoes, as if we need extra tomatoes right now. So this succession planting is actually looking very well. These ones that I had planted already are still producing a huge amount of tomatoes, so those are looking well too. We really are just going to have an incredible amount of tomatoes, which again is a great problem to have. So over here, this is all of our peppers. They're looking well too. Everything's going very well. We are getting a huge amount of these Cubanello peppers, and they are just actually one of my favorites so far this year. They really good flavor, even though they're not quite ripe yet. But the cool thing with peppers is you can eat them at any stage, and at this stage Cubanellos are really good when you fry them up. And yeah, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, peppers looking great. This is all looking good. I'm gonna walk around to this side. And yeah, again, this fence, I'm very happy with this fence and how this turned out. This couldn't be better. Now we just have to go ahead and fence this section off over here up against the house, this boardwalk. And we're gonna fence it off around here and just close the rest of this area off to keep some of the predators and other animals out. Right here, this is what I was speaking about before when I was speaking about the Bokashi and fermenting. Let's see, can I get this bucket open? Hold on a second here. Okay, so this is Bokashi. This is kind of what it looks like. You take that, all your scraps and whatnot, and this is 2 buckets here. The one bucket has got holes in it, and it's dripping the drippings into the other bucket. And this is like an anaerobic decomposition. Basically, it means it's decomposing without air, and it's using the bran and the microbes to break all this stuff down to where it makes it easier to when you put it in the actual compost. You can put meat in here, eggshells, all the no-nos, bones, everything that they tell you can't compost normally. Bokashi will break it down and get it started up to the point where it'll all break down well. And the tea that you get from this, all the drippings, make an amazing fertilizer. Another benefit of doing this Bokashi like this is that even now I've got this open and there's no horrible smell right now. It's just like a fermented smell. It's really not putrid or anything at all, and this is breaking down really, really good here. So let me go ahead and close this up. So yeah, so we've got several buckets of Bokashi going on here and getting some fermentation going to kickstart this compost off and potentially start a new compost pile. I'm so thankful to Amir's restaurant in Ann Arbor. They've been super cool, and they've been donating all these pickle buckets to us. So thank you so much, Amir's. If you haven't been there, I would suggest you go down there. It's a really, really great place. Really good restaurant. Amazing food, and they've contributed heavily to our compost here. So thank you, Amir's, and thank you, everyone else. But, so yeah, this is another little corner bed. This is my wife's little project that she's been working on right here. Just some more melons, cucumbers, broccoli, and what else is in here? Zucchini, I believe, and some other squash. This is just a hodgepodge of different things, but clearly it's doing well. It's growing. And my super Trader Joe sweet potato is just taking over the world right here. That's doing well also. I'm very curious to see what's down there. This thing has just done nothing but explode. That's one sweet potato. So lastly, I'm going to take you down here to the compost and the chicken pile, or sorry, the chicken coop. So one of the last few things to get done this year is to go ahead and wrap up the rest of this chicken coop and get this firewood all cut up for the winter and get it on racks. And we've also got another huge pile of logs over the hill over there, probably about 30 trees or so that need to be all cut up and put on that slab for the winter. So that's one of the last things we've got. We got a little bit more work done on the chicken coop, the super duper double wide chicken cooper. For those of you all who've been around here for a while, you know what it is. We went ahead again. We got this put up here, this other layer of chicken wire, and it wraps all the way around. We still got a little bit more build to do back there in that back section right there. We're going to go ahead and build that up and make another small attachment or room, I guess I should say, to add on to here. Phase 1 of next year is getting the infrastructure together for quail. We're going to house quail here for eggs along with our egg birds. This is going to be the egg bird paradise. So we're going to also get some ducks in here as well. So that's next year's plan, but right now, again, we have to just make sure the infrastructure is ready for it. And we're going to have to do some winterization for this coop, putting a little bit of plastic up on some of these spots just to keep some of the snow and stuff out. Other than that, this coop has been holding up like a tank. This thing is just amazing. All the birds are happy. There's a tremendous amount of space in here for our 34 birds, 33 birds, something like that now. We actually ended up losing one, so I think we're down one or two. Or one, I should say. But everything's been working out great with the coop. Compost pile on explode right now. This compost pile is looking great. We've got all the flies and everything over here now. The chickens were just over here feasting not long ago. And yeah, they're actually really enjoying this. This has saved me so much on feed. What's probably going to happen later on is once the end of the day comes, once they finished eating, we're going to go ahead and turn this over. I've got some wood ash and I've got some bark from our wood pile that we're going to go ahead and cover this up with, just to keep a lot of the flies and bees and other stuff down. I'm going to let them do their thing for the day, eat and lay their eggs, so that when we turn this over, they'll be down in the mix, and when the chickens start doing their scratching, they can scratch up all the larvae and just enjoy. But yeah, this, for as crazy as this looks right now, there's like little to no smell here on this compost pile. It literally smells like just straight compost right now, like fresh compost. So this is actually working out well. The chickens are actually doing their job maintaining and turning this. Between the two of us doing it, everything's looking good. But other than that, everything is going well on the homestead. Just trying to keep things moving. All the projects are turning out great. It's been a great experience being out here, and I suggest everybody keep doing what you're doing and preparing yourself for this brave new world that's ahead of us. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by the channel and check out what we got going on here. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And until the next time, this is Jay at Fort Living Room Homestead, and I am out of here.